Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes for Tuesday, the 7th of September. It happens to be my birthday as well. We're getting a bit overbought now, but onto the stocks and seeing if anything else is becoming overbought. First is Request Auction Technology Group. Here you can see there's been a gentle progression via a rising trend channel from the end of February. Top of the channel heading towards £18. Gap down, maybe a warning that we had at the beginning of this month. That might be a warning that the uptrend is ready to roll over, but at least while we're above the 50-day moving average, that's currently there at around £13.40. The upside and the uptrend and the potential target towards £18 maybe over the next couple of months is still intact. If you're cautious, maybe you want to see an end of day close above the top of that gap. That is at £15.86. So a bit difficult there, but I suppose the trade here really is to look for any dips towards the 50-day line around 13.40 or just under 13.50. On to the stock of the past week by quite some margin, Eurasia. And I suppose the initial view here was that on the day of that key reversal, actually, I think that was a Tuesday, that the initial target there was that line of resistance from December at 23 pence. That was obviously easily achieved. After that, we were looking towards the low 30s, and that has also been achieved. But the big question now is probably the most interesting part of the whole thing here is whether we can get an end-of-day close or a weekly close above 35. That is post-December resistance. Above 35 looks as though we could be going up to that October resistance line projection, heading up towards 65 pence, maybe as soon as the end of next month. This stage, while we like the an end-of-day close above 35 pence, probably now only back below the 200-day line around 26 pence, really delaying or questioning the upside scenario. If you're looking for a tighter stop than that, maybe the old May peak there at 31.5 would be something that fitted the bill. Moving along to a stock which has had a good start on the stock market, East Imperial. It's supposed to be the next fever tree, and here we've got potentially a rising trend channel, which I sort of identified this morning. That could be heading towards 35 pence. We've seen the shares roll or sort of rally along the floor of this rising trend channel after gapping higher and then filling that gap and then rebounding. Got the 50 and 200-day moving averages also rising. So I suppose at this stage, while we're above the initial resistance for the shares at 15.35, then the upside as high as 35 could be on the chart, or the cards rather, over the next 1 to 2 months. Only back below the 50-day line now at 11.5 pence or 11.75 pence, really questioning the upside scenario. But ideally, we remain above that support line there from last month on East Imperial. Good update in terms of the next stock here, KAZIRA. Here we've got a situation where the shares have gapped higher through the 50-day line. I think I've looked at this before actually quite recently, but they gapped higher through the 50-day line. Another gap higher, so that's pretty good, and you tend to get gaps in 3, so maybe there's another one coming up quite soon. But above that line of resistance there from May at 1.37, we're looking for a move up towards the top of the rising trend channel from October at 2.4 pence, especially after the 2 as yet unfilled gaps to the upside. On to i3 Energy, which was mentioned very favourably in the Telegraph today. Here we've had the shares consolidating and crawling up this this broadening triangle, which has been in place since December. That has its support area around, let's say, 10.5 pence. Above 10.5 pence, we're looking towards the top of the broadening triangle as high as 21 or 22 pence, maybe by the next, over the next 1 to 2 months. If you're cautious, you want to see an end-of-day close through the August intraday resistance at 11.95, either on a weekly or daily close basis. We can get that, then we are looking pretty good for i3 Energy on a technical basis over the near term. Moving along to Maestrono, which has had an intriguing move over the last 24 hours, gap through the 200-day line. That's rising. That's an extra plus point on the technicals. And while there's no end-of-day close back below the floor of the gap at 13.5 pence, we're looking towards that August resistance line projection from last year as high as 23 or 24 pence, maybe by the end of next month. Stock which has been mentioned as a potential candidate for the Bulletin Board Heroes today is MGC Pharmaceuticals. Really, this looks quite interesting in the sense, and quite decent actually, in the sense that we've had multiple support points around 2 pence. Then we gapped up through the 50-day moving average. That's currently around 2.3 pence, and we've held the gap, but never even overlapped the low there of the gap at 2.4 pence. And certainly while we're above that higher low there around 2.65, or rather 2.47, we're looking towards that resistance line projection from March as high as 5 pence by the end of next month. Another requested stock is Redx Pharma. Here we have a situation with a vertical move after the rebound off the floor of that rising trend channel from July last year. The view at this stage is an end of day close or a weekly close above that old March peak at 75 pence should be enough to take the shares up to as high as £1.30, perhaps as soon as the end of next month, if we continue our vertical move that we've got at the moment. Just a couple to go now. First one is Sabien Technology, which I know the Twitter cognoscenti are quite fans of. Here we had a false dawn move through towards 25 last month. Another attempt at breaking that falling wedge on a break of 19 pence, and the longer we stay above 19, the greater the chance of a move to the mid-20s. Be cautious here, but you probably want to see an end of day close through the 50-day line at 20.5 before penciling in the upside scenario, but slightly fiddly even now. Finishing off with a stock which is was new to me, which is always a nice thing. Here we broke the initial range. The peak was £1.47.5. Initial floor there at 137.5, and obviously we kept on going. In terms of where the shares might head up to over the near term, probably looking towards a rising trend channel, which I'm just about to draw if I can. A rising trend channel, sort of like this, so the support line there from back in the middle or the early part of last month. And in terms of the top of the channel, we're probably guessing a level, so probably something like this, that the shares are in that kind of trajectory. While there's no end of day close back below yesterday's low, which is the top of the gap at £2.23, looking for as high as £2.80 perhaps by the end of this month. But at least while we're above the floor of the gap there at 204, the upside and buying on dips could be on the cards for Microlise. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.